Okay, so tonight's shir is L'Zeichen Nishmas, our friend Yochanan ben Avram Menachem Mendel, Olav Shalom, and my parents Achiel Mitzim ben Rib Doiv and Mindel Bas Rabbi Yisrael. We're continuing ahead in Nesivei Chinuch, written by the Nesivas Shalom. Very exciting, chapter 3, and we're halfway through. We're up to Eis Gimel. Oid Omalehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu also told us, when he took us and he decided to take us for his Am Sugula to be his cherished beloved nation, Shemahus Hayadus he, that what is the essence of Yadus? And again, we always have to go back and realize that for some reason, even though we have a great education system, sometimes we forget to teach what is the essence of what we are. Like the example that we gave last year, that besides for the details of what we do, we have to know what we are. Like the commander who's giving the opening address to the new Navy SEALs that began training. He's telling them that they're going to be chashuv, that they're different, that they're important. They're totally different than the rest of the world. They're totally different than regular civilians. And therefore they have to behave differently in their private life as well. They have to be elevated, and they have to be completely different people. And then you're going to go through your training to learn details, what to do, what not to do in every situation. So too, before HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us Torah mitzvahs, he explained to us in those beautiful words that we learned in the past. If you didn't see it, please go back and watch those shiurim. What a Jew is. So there's a mahus of what it is. What are we? The mahus of Yadus is v'yisam li segula mikol ha'amim. We are different. We're cherished. We're cherished, different than all of the other nations. What does it mean? The Mechilta explains what it means to be a beloved, cherished nation, different than all the other nations. The Mechilta, it says that it means Shetiyu knuyim li. You belong to me. You are acquired by me. Really, Hashem owns everything. Everything that's in the world is owned by Hashem. So what does it mean that I own you? You own everything, Hashem. He wants to give a beautiful example that will open up our understanding to our relationship with Hashem. There's a king, and he's single, and he wants to get married to a bas kfar, a girl from a shtetl. We'll call it today like a girl from Monticello. Above and beyond all the conditions that he makes with her, he's going to have to bring her back home. Now, she's used to eating with her fingers, right? She's used to walking in a certain clothing. Besides all the conditions of what it means to be now, you're not going to be the beauty of Monticello, but you're going to be the queen of a country. Besides for all of that, of how she has to behave in the heichal of the king's palace, he has to raise her up, he lifts her up. He stells her avek. Gam al erech ma'amoda haram, also on her high level, beyoisa malchas hamadina, of what it means to be a queen. It's not so much about the details. It's not so much about the details. You're going to curtsy, you're going to this, when someone opens a door, you're going to this, or you're not going to this, you can't. Yeah, he explains besides for the details, you're going to be the queen of England. You're going to be the queen of our country. And therefore, and therefore you have to change your grasp of your entire life. Everything that you lived for. If you took a video of a week of her life, from getting up in the morning and going to work, and then maybe being very nice, going to the diner, getting your nails done, whatever regular folk do. He says, your whole tfisas achayim, your whole grasp, your whole world on Monticello is Broadway. And these are the people you know, and these are the people you stay away from, and this is the jail with the 6 people in it, and this is the one cop on the corner. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world. And she has to exchange her whole grasp of her life, her vision, her like we said, tzimtzum, right? Like it's closed in. Her small-mindedness. Betfisa shel roiznim v'atzilei eretz behesam l'roim ha'mamoda. Now she has to start thinking like a world opinion. She has to know that everything she says could have great meaning when she tells the news press or whatever she says, and whatever she does, the way when she smiles at someone, that's a connection to that country. And these people you're nice to, and these people you're not. Everything means so much. It's magnified. Al derech zeh hoya dvar Hashem la'amai. That's the same way, and this derech, this understanding, this was the dvar Hashem to his nation. He said, Aleichem lo das, you need to know, ki hinchem knuyim li, you belong to me. I own everything, but you have a special relationship with me as a people. You're my people. Mahus hayahados hi bebechinas hanasuin. The mahus, the essence of Yiddishkeit, is like a marriage. Kaviyachol klapi mala. It's a marriage between us, Klal Yisrael, and Hashem, which he does not have with the rest of the creations, the rest of the people, the rest of the nations. We are married kaviyachol to Hashem. Like it says in Hosea, beautiful words, that the connection between us, it's like a nesuin, like a marriage and a love and a romance. La'olam. But in order to be zoicha, to be able to be married to Hashem, in Kedushin. The Ran in Nedarim, a famous Ran in Nedarim, explains what Kedushin is. And when we understand what Kedushin is, so then we can understand that when Hashem says, you are knuyim li, a bechinas of Kedushin, a concept of marriage, if we understand what marriage means, we'll understand what we need to do in our relationship with Hashem. The Ran in Nedarim says that what Kedushin is that the woman, the woman, maskemes l'kedusha yish, she's maskim to be connected to this man. Vihi, and she is mevatelas data uritzoina. She is mevatel her own will. Umashvi nafsha eitzel habal kedvar shel hefker. Sounds a little old-fashioned. I'm not sure it's still happening today. But this is what it is. She becomes Mrs. Goldberg. She becomes the queen, and he is the king. She's mevatel her das and her ratzin to be under him. And that is the way the Ran explains what Kedushin is supposed to be. Tachlus hayadus hapnimius. What is the purpose of yadus, of Yiddishkeit, apnimius? Really, not the outside. The outside is you got to go like this on Sukkos. The outside is you got to wear tzitzis. The outside is you got to bench lech. The outside is what we do. But who are we? Sheyehudi yevatel atzmai datoi uritzainoi la'Kadosh Baruch Hu. Really, what it is to be a Jew is that I'm mevatel my mind, my will, everything about me. Atzmai datoi uritzainoi. I'm mevatel my essence, my zich. I don't have any other piece of me other than to go ahead and do Ratzon Hashem. There's no me anymore. I'm secondary to the Ratzon Hashem. I'm mevatel myself to God. And my mindset, mevatel to God. Uritzainoi, and what I would want, my ritzainis, if they go against what Hashem wants, I'm mevatel it, doesn't exist. Because I want to be a good wife. I want to please my husband. We have to want to please our Hashem. And if that's our focus, then of course along the way there are things that I want. I'm driving and I want a cheeseburger. I want to stop in and I want to do this, I want to watch this, I want to whatever it is. But if my focus is to be a good wife, to be a good partner, and that's my focus to Hashem, then memela, I don't do the things that Hashem doesn't want me to do, because then I'm not a proper spouse, and I do the things that would make Hashem happy with me. That's the way the relationship is shtel davek, is set up. Yehudi yevatel atzmoi datei ritzonei la'Kadosh Baruch Hu v'yikna atzmoi legamri elav yisbarach, and you makna yourself, you give yourself away legamri, completely to Hashem. Now we said in the introductions, I want to say it again. This Nesivei Daas, written by the Nesivas Shalom as a hakdama to the Sefer, is not a kiruv Sefer. He's talking about how to be a black belt in Yiddishkeit. And a lot of times he's going to say concepts that are above us. But he has to be the one. Someone has to say, what is it really supposed to be? And then we have to work to get there. Can I be mevatel my entire essence to Hashem now? My Daas, my Rotzain, everything I want and everything. No, tzaddikim, they're the black belts. But the idea is to understand, first of all, we would never work on this if he didn't tell us that that's our job. A person can do all the mitzvahs and not do the averis, right? But still, he thinks, I'm a person. Now, I'm choosing to do this, but I'm not doing it because I'm avatal myself to you. And that's missing the boat. There is no you. You're giving up your life like a Navy SEAL gives up his life and would die for the purpose of the government, of the Medina, as a spouse is supposed to feel towards her husband. And we are supposed to feel that to Hashem. Now, it happens to be you want me to shake the lulav or eat the matzah, but if it would have been put a strawberry in my nose, I would put a strawberry in my nose, because it's not about doing the things. It's about pleasing you and doing your ratzon. That's the only thing that I care about. And I have no me. And when I feel like I have a me, I work on myself. Look at the tzaddikim. What made Rav Steinman? Just someone in our dar that we were able to see. There was no person there. There was no person. It was all about Ratzon Hashem. There was nobody there. Now we're not Rav Steinman. We're not ready to eat lunch, his slice of cucumber or whatever it was every single day for 90 years and never to lean back. He didn't lean. For I think the first 100 years of his life, he didn't lean back. Someone said he saw him on a plane. Everybody's leaned back, and he was sitting upright. We can't understand that. We can't understand. He gave shir in the bed that he slept. Whoever knows, or any of these tzaddikim. There's no me. There's no me. But on our level, we can start to say, I'm going to daven mincha because this is Ratzon Hashem. And I'm not going to do that because it's Ratzon Hashem. We could start putting Ratzon Hashem into our Avodas Hashem. We could start putting Ratzon Hashem into our Avodas Hashem. There are people who are Eved Hashem and they don't even think about God. There are people who learn Torah and they don't think about Hashem. They're learning Torah as Hashem, and they would get busy with the shor, shenagach hapara. They get busy with all the details of what they're learning and the sukkah and this, whatever they're learning. Forget about this is to connect to Hashem. This is bonding us to Chachmas HaTorah. So he's saying that really what's supposed to happen, and this actually, interesting, could happen to an Amaretz. In other words, this feeling has nothing to do with your spiritual level or your Chachma level. This is really the Aleph base. And it's Aleph base that you could have even if you're a Talmud Chacham and even if you're not a Talmud Chacham. You can live your life this way. To realize that Hashem wants to own me, to acquire me like a husband and a wife, like I belong to Him. There's no greater thing in the world than to have that feeling, to live like that. I'm different than the Goyim, and therefore I should feel that I have no me. I'm avatal my ratzon. I want, and He wants. So I do what He wants. I'm not giving up anything. This is our relationship. A good wife says, I want something like this, and my husband wants something like that. So if it's not a good wife, there's a fight, there's an argument, or there's resentment. There's a wife that says, a real wife, it's to say, I'm avatal myself to my husband. If he wants that, that's what I want. In a different world, if I didn't have that husband, I would want that. But I, thank God, have a husband, I want that. That's the way it used to be set up. And that's the proper way. That's the hierarchy. So we realize Hashem is higher. So we think to myself, I want to do this. Hashem wants me to do that. So then there's no me anymore. And that is me. I actually become a greater me because I am bonding myself to the infinite. I'm bonding myself to the Almighty. So when a soldier goes into the army and it's mevatel his ratzon to the general who's representing, assuming it's a good general and it's a real army, he becomes more powerful. Right? We see what's happening now with Russia and Ukraine, and it's a tremendous Musar Haskell, because if Russia would invade any other country probably in the world, it's probably Chas v'Shalom, but in America, I don't see every single one of us taking hammers and axes and be willing to fight to the death for our country. I think we would say, like, you're here, you're in already, you're fire, like, okay, call us Russia, like, we're pretty lazy. who's going to defend us if we're talking about past the army. In addition to the army, the Ukrainians were willing to fight to the death. It's a Musar Haskell that if you just don't give up what they can do, which the whole world is amazed by them, that they're just willing to fight to the death. Okay? So somebody who goes and he's mevatel himself to the Ukrainian general, and the general says, you're going there. What about my rutzin? I want to go to sleep. I want to eat. You're mevatel that when you become part of the army, when you become part of the resistance. You mevatel yourself to the general. You believe in the cause. Hashem is our general. I still have a rutzin of how I would like to do things. The ideal is to not have a rutzin. My rutzin is, what does Hashem want from me? And then you're living life in a whole different realm. And at the end of the day, we're only here for a short amount of time. And then we're going back to Hashem. So besides the fact of mitzvahs and averos, how do you like going back, spending eternity with somebody that you didn't really listen to his rutzin? It's not very comfortable, you know? You're staying in someone's house and they say, please don't smoke upstairs, and you smoke upstairs, and then you come downstairs and they're there looking at you and you're stuck. What do you mean you wanted a cigarette? We asked you not to do that. It's our house. We invited you. Imagine a homeless person, or a guy whose house has a fire, let's say, and he's not homeless, but he needs a place, and a guy takes him in and gives him the whole attic, the mansion attic with the 6 bedrooms and the jacuzzi and the spa for free. And just please don't smoke upstairs. I have my rutzin, you have your rutzin. No, you mevatel yourself because there's a benefit. So we have to be mevatel, saying Muhusa Yehudi is, and this is the essence, this is what we should be teaching our kids from day one. Learning how to read Hebrew is a part of knowing how to daven. Davening is a part of being a Yid. Asking Hashem, a relationship with Hashem, betachin, emunah, learning Torah, everything is on top of this. But very often, I think always, we forget to learn this and to understand this, that this is the Avodas Hashem. Because from 1 to 100, the more I am this, then everything else has much more meaning. And the less I am this, then I'm just doing stuff out of rote. I'm doing stuff, of course you get schar for it, but you can't compare. The tzaddikim for sure felt this way. They didn't just go daven shachris mincha marav because that's what I have to do, and I have to learn, so I'll learn. They felt that they are knuyim ta'akadosh baruch Hu. They are the wife of Hashem, and they're mevatel, their das, and their rotzen, and their essence, and their mohus, and everything that they are has no meaning because I am Eved Hashem. And that raises things up to a whole different level. So that's what he's saying. Tachlos hayadus apnimius, and this is so important. Please share this with people who are from and want to do the Ratzon Hashem and want to know what a Jew is, and nobody ever told them. The tachlos, the inner tachlos, the pnimius, the inner idea of what it is to be a Jew, is that you should be mevatel, your data, your mindset. Atzmai. First of all, yourself, your mind, your rutzon, your will, your desire. LaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'yikna atzmai legamrei elav. And adarabba, when this Bas Kfar, when this redneck, when this Monticello girl gets that ring on her finger from King whatever, we used to have real kings, it's hard for us to even imagine, but really an upgrade, or a billionaire. She's the happiest person in the world. There's no greater achievement in my life that I became the wife of that. It's unbelievable. Her gashmi is, her ruchni is, her spiritual level. I don't mean ruchni is Yiddishkeit. Her whole mahos changed legamri, that she won the heart of this prince. And she's going to be in a kingdom, and she's royalty. People go open the door for her. Nobody's opening up the door for her in Monticello. Maybe a guy with one tooth. But, here you're going to have a guy with a full set of teeth opening up the door in uniform, going like this. Her whole life changed. She's so happy. We're supposed to feel that way. We're not giving up anything. Instead of being another person on this world, and even a person who lives by a different set of rules, like vegetarians have rules, vegans have rules, right? A lot of people have rules. People who are on diets, they have rules. So we have Jewish rules. Yiddishkeit, how to live our life. It's much more than that. The pneumistic internal idea, concept is that I don't exist. I'm giving myself over to God. There's no me, I don't count, I don't need, and then I become much more powerful. Bibichinas, with a concept of l'cha ani v'chal asheli. Like it says, l'cha ani, to you, I am for you. And everything I have, everything I am, is to you. It's a schus. You're not losing anything. It's an upgrade. Instead of being a regular person, you get upgraded. Yozoiche liyois am sugulasai, the cherished nation of Hashem, mamlechas kaihanim v'goy kodesh. You become royalty. Becoming royalty, of course we're going to act royal, but we become royalty. And this is what we have to inculcate into the chinuch of every single one of our children. Because if we feel this idea that we had an option to become royalty, and that therefore we act differently, and that's why we don't eat those things and do those things, because our king, who was kind enough to choose us, out of his love, out of his ratzon for us, he lifted us up above all languages. He did all of this for some reason. We didn't earn it. It's in our DNA from Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. He took his holy name. He called it on us. The details is what we do. We got so busy learning, and you have to learn the mitzvahs and what to do and what not to do. Those are the details of how a Navy SEAL acts, of how a princess acts. But first you have to understand who we are. And if we inculcated this is the most important chinuch for our children. This is the most important chinuch for us. We're not just in a regiment that has a lot of rules. These rules are because we're royalty. And it's a whole different way. That's why we'll do it b'simcha. We're not going to oivei. It's not oivei. It's thank you, Hashem. For some reason, you elevated us. You chose us. And we'll rise to the task. And we're proud. It's a schus to be Am Segula. It's a schus to be Mamlechas Kehanim Goy Kodesh. It's a schus to be a holy nation. That's the way we have to look at it.